My cousin insisted on making her secret marriage public during my celebration after I had to postpone my own to accommodate my pregnant sister. I said no, and there was chaos. Tanya, 31, is engulfed in a family dispute that has lasted for months. Some understanding of my family's past is necessary to grasp the circumstances. Lester, 35M, Rachel, 33F, Nancy, 28F, and Zoe, 25F are my siblings. Sarah, 58F, and John, 60M reared us in a small community where everyone knew each other. My family is big and close-knit. During holidays and get-togethers with family, I was in charge of my younger siblings and other relatives. Our family tree is equally big. Mom has 2 brothers and 3 sisters, while Dad has 4 brothers. Family reunions are little parties with cousins, second cousins, and third cousins. Despite the turmoil, enjoyable. Rather of taking part in the festivities, I frequently entertained the younger grandchildren on both sides of my family as the eldest grandchild. 3 years ago, my life fell apart due to the death of my 34-year-old spouse, Ethan, in an automobile accident. We got married immediately after college, were in love during high school, and had 2 amazing children, Emma, 10, and Liam, 8. Our village was distraught, as were the kids and myself, by Ethan's passing. He was a well-liked teacher and coach, and in high school, impacting a large number of lives. During that difficult period, Ethan's boyhood friend Jake, now 33, offered us hope. Before their lives separated, Jake and Ethan were best friends since kindergarten and attended the same college. Their bond was reignited when Jake came back to town a year before to Ethan's injury in search of employment. When Ethan passed away unexpectedly, Jake supported me. While I was stressed, hubby drove the kids to school and sports sessions. He finished fixing up the house in spite of my ignorance. Above all, he listened to me when I wanted to chat or sat silently when I couldn't think of anything to say. Jake and I came to the realization that our love had beyond friendship 96 months after Ethan had away. It wasn't anything we had planned on. We were concerned about what people thought and how it would impact the children. After many long discussions, including with the bereavement counselor, we decided to give it a shot, getting their approval before telling them about our relationship. They provided reassuringly strong support. Mother of Ethan, Linda, 62F, gave me a hug and said she was thrilled to see me happy again, and she knew that Ethan would want the same for me. Once my family and kids gave their okay, we told them. The answers were not all the same. Lester, my brother, gave his support right away, glad that I had someone to watch out for the kids and myself. Mom was skeptical, but my folks were cautiously optimistic. Surprised, Rachel and Zoe quickly grew comfortable. Nancy took it with a chilly heart. What worried me most was how the kids would respond. Emma, ever the perceptive child, said that she suspected something, and that she was fine as long as we didn't want her to call Jake her father. Liam inquired about family matters, looking increasingly perplexed. Instead of trying to take Ethan's place, we told them that Jake loved us and wanted to be a part of our lives. Jake was a valued family member when he was 18 months old. He was constantly accessible and never put the kids under strain. He waited calmly. Ethan coached Liam's small league squad even though he had always loved baseball. I was scared at first, but this was good for all of us. Jake asked her to marry him last Christmas. He was aware of my hesitation to display large motions in public. After we finished our simple family Christmas lunch and the kids went to bed, he asked me to marry him with a ring. I said yes without thinking twice. 6 months out, and after much deliberation, we decided on a small, private June wedding. In order to respect the children and my ex-husband, we wanted to keep things low-key. The only people invited were close friends, close family, and a few of Ethan's relatives who had remained in contact. Before Nancy, my younger sister, revealed she was expecting, everything was good. Nancy and Tom, a 30-meter guy, tried for years. They suffered 2 challenging miscarriages. Pregnancy at high risk was suspected. The family was naturally thrilled with the news. At first, everyone cherished both circumstances. I observed a shift in my family's viewpoint over time. My mom recommended postponing marriage. Given Nancy's critical state, she argued it wasn't fair for her to have 2 large family reunions so close together. Having hired the location and sent out the invitations, I stated there was no way we could postpone. When Nancy contacted me in tears, things became serious, claiming that my wedding would keep everyone busy at her baby shower and that I was taking credit for her hard work. I was astonished by that. Despite our different ages, Nancy and I have always been close. She followed me about like a shadow when she was little, so I had to keep an eye out for her. I assured her we had plenty of time for both ceremonies because we had planned our wedding before she became pregnant. My siblings made their own decisions as well. Lester concurred, telling me not to alter my plans. But Rachel and Zoe supported Nancy, accusing me of being conceited for putting her needs aside. Rachel went so far as to say that my previous marriage made my wedding appear insignificant. Last week, during our weekly family meal, the problem came to a head. Our grandmother has conducted these nocturnal rites to preserve family ties ever since I can remember. They usually involved great food, laughs, and catching up. But this was something unique. Because of possible problems, Nancy's doctor advised her to take it easy during the final month of her pregnancy. This might make it so she can't come to our wedding. I received accusations rather than empathy. Rather than a typical wedding, my mother recommended a courthouse wedding. When I declined, she labeled me mean and said that my need for attention was more important than my sister's welfare. If Nancy was unable to attend, Jake offered to broadcast the event as a compromise. This concept was rejected by my family, who claimed it wasn't the same. They said that if I was concerned about family, I should wait to be married after the baby was born. I sobbed as I left the dinner, feeling angry and hurt. Jake and I put a lot of time, money, and effort into our wedding. Before Nancy became pregnant, we decided on a date that would work for everyone. I perceive an uncontrollable incident as a punishment. The next day, Dad gave me a call. He settles family conflicts every time. Serene amid any tempest. He agreed with me, but cautioned me about Nancy's feelings. Reminding me of how close we were, he told me stories of teaching Nancy how to ride a bike and letting her sleep in my bed during her bad dreams. He recommended that they have a private discussion to work out the issues. But at this moment, I'm not sure if I want to. I love my sister and am glad to have an aunt. Still, I don't think I'm going to die. I waited for Jake, patiently. After I've grieved and the kids have adjusted, we're prepared to begin our next chapter. Emma and Liam are looking forward to the wedding. Liam is ring bearer practice, so Emma has assisted me in selecting decorations. It has been amazing to watch them get closer to Jake over the last 3 years. They've both grown up a lot. I wonder what Ethan would say in this situation. He constantly encouraged me to defend my rights, even from family members. Peace in the family, nevertheless, was vital to him. I'm not sure if I should be strong for his memory, or if I'm being stubborn. Is it wrong that I want to hold on to our wedding date? Should I succumb to the pressure from my family at Niflsbone? I can't decide between principle and peace. I would value any guidance. Update 1. A lot has transpired in the month since my previous post. I appreciate all of your suggestions and encouragement. That opened my eyes to a number of things. I made the decision to meet Nancy after reading a number of comments. So that we could converse uninterrupted while Tom was at work, I asked her over for lunch. I baked my grandmother's chicken pot pie this morning for Nancy, who adores it. Since I made it for her, I thought it could help to break the ice during her challenging high school years. Nancy came, nervous and tired. It was obvious that her pregnancy was draining her. When we first ate, the conversation was stiff and awkward. We talked about her pregnancy symptoms and the weather instead of the core problem. After dinner, I brought up the wedding. Nancy was quiet at first, but as we spoke, she started crying. She seems to be suffering from extreme pregnancy anxiety. She had miscarried before, so she was concerned that she wouldn't become pregnant this time. The doctor's warning about potential consequences made her more anxious. However, it went above and beyond. Nancy said she was under my shadow. She went on to say that she had always thought of me as the perfect older sister, responsible, successful, married, and having kids. She acknowledged that her reaction to the wedding was influenced by her fears. She said she was constantly catching up. I was 16 years old when I started my first job at the local library, and Nancy, at 13, wanted our parents to let her work. When I was accepted into Nancy's ideal college, she cried for days, concerned that she won't succeed. She felt behind in life even after she married Ethan and had kids. It stunned me. Nancy, I knew, had different feelings. Nancy was, always to me, the family-free spirit, the one that followed her passions without thinking about money. I informed her about Ethan's passing, my difficulties as a single mother, and my anxiety of seeing Jake again. She was aware of my nights when I would cry after the kids went to bed, feeling overburdened and alone. There were moments when I hoped she could do as she pleased without my interference. We cried together, and I felt close to my sister for the first time in a long time. Nancy apologized at the end of our conversation and offered to pay for my wedding. Even in bed, she offered to assist with chores around the house. We spent the afternoon looking through wedding magazines and websites, daydreaming about our wedding like teenagers do. I had to give my mom a call after making this discovery. The next day I invited her over for coffee after dropping the kids off at school. Mom has always had strong opinions and been fiercely independent. Upon sitting at my kitchen table with her coffee mug tightly held, she appeared more worn out and elderly than before. Nancy and I talked about our viewpoints. Mother paid attention and acknowledged my viewpoint, even though she wasn't in agreement. She said that she decided to postpone the wedding because she was worried about Nancy's pregnancy. We spent hours talking about our personal histories and principles. Mom told me about the jealousies and misunderstandings that molded her sister's relationships. She consented to give up on postponement request and assist in family member mediation. As soon as everything appeared promising, a new challenge emerged. Jake's parents, who are overseas, told him that his father would not be able to make the June wedding because he needed emergency surgery. They proposed moving the event to August so they could attend. Jake and I talked about this. We, for the most part, ignored my family's insistence. Still, we came to the conclusion that his parents had to be there. Following his departure from the family business to pursue his own career, Jake's connection with his parents has become tense. There might be peace after this wedding. We wished not to be left out. We decided to move the wedding to August after much thought. It was a difficult but seemingly correct option. My relatives had differing opinions about our choice. Nancy said she felt awful and regretted altering our plans. Despite her best efforts to hide it, my mother was relieved. Lester urged Rachel and Zoe as usual, but they said nothing. I told them all that the only people taking this into account were Jake's parents, not by coercion. I also made it clear that drama and schedule setting were not acceptable. We maintained our deposit because our June reservation had an August opening. We now have more time to plan and fund for luxuries we couldn't afford because of the later date. Always, Jake has supported me. He's always been supportive, kind, and patient with me. I'm even more certain that I want to live a lifetime with him after witnessing him resolve conflicts in the family. As we were selecting our seats last night, he assured me that it would all be worthwhile when I could finally call you my wife. It made me think of its original intent. We're talking more about Nancy now. She delivered on her promise and gave me suggestions for the wedding's theme and song choices. I had no idea that we appeared to need to mend our relationship. Kids have been amazing along this process. Emma immediately began to consider how she could repurpose her flower girl attire for the summer date once we informed them of the schedule change. Liam merely desired additional time to work on his ring-bearer walk. Next month, Nancy's baby shower is the next big event. I'll make it extra special to let her know that I'm just as thrilled about her child as I am about my wedding. My stress level has decreased while planning it with Rachel and Zoe. As I type this, I feel relieved, excited, and concerned. I have a generally optimistic view. Despite our differences, I'm hoping for a bright future with Jake, Nancy's unborn kid, and family unity. Update 2: It's been 2 months since my last update, and a lot has happened. Not everything has gone according to plan. 3 weeks ago, Nancy gave birth to a gorgeous kid named Sophia. Both the mother and the child are in good health. It's endearing to watch the family come together for them. Several hours after Sophia's birth, I had the pleasure of holding my niece for the first time at the hospital. I told Nancy about those early years of fatherhood after Emma and Liam were born. I was occupied wrapping up our August wedding with Jake. Everything was going great as our big day drew near. Finally, we decided on a color palette. For our first dance, Jake had selected the cuisine for the reception and talked me into taking dancing classes. Every day, Emma rehearsed her flower girl walk, while Liam committed his ring-bearer speech to memory. Children were starting to become enthusiastic as well. That is, until the surprise of last week. Last month, my 29-year-old cousin Andrea eloped with her longtime companion, 31-year-old Chris. Since they planned to surprise the family at the next large celebration, they hadn't notified anyone, which happened to be my wedding day. Normally, Andrea and I get along well. Despite being raised as cousins but more like sisters, we are 2 years apart. Clothes, crushes, and secrets were exchanged. When I began dating Ethan in high school, Andrea was the first person I told. More than Jake, Andrea assisted me in feeding and sleeping the children and in remembering to take breaks following Ethan's death. When she first revealed that she was eloping, I was ecstatic for her. Chris and Andrea spent years alone and rejected by their families. Our histories are not at all like Chris's. I was aware of their love for one another and their anticipation of this. Andrea went on to ask if they may come to our wedding reception and rejoice with family after announcing their marriage. She added that since everyone will be decked up in festive attire and ready to celebrate, everything would be ideal. She reasoned that since I had previously been married, it would ease our discomfort by stealing some of my attention from Jake and me. I was amazed by this. I said to them politely that, although I was happy for them, I didn't think it was appropriate for them to make such a significant announcement at our wedding. I proposed a family get-together to celebrate their union rather than a huge BBQ at our grandparents' farm, where we used to spend our summers as children. Andrea had an awful reaction. I tried to get all the attention, and she called me selfish. She wondered why we couldn't share the spotlight. Noting that we had postponed our wedding. Since this was my second wedding, she thought it shouldn't mean as much. That last comment hurt more than I revealed. This was my second wedding. But it was still important. Since I knew life and love were transitory and precious, it made everything more significant. Everything went haywire quickly. Andrea made me look awful when she told relatives about our conversation. My Uncle Paul, 57M, and Aunt Linda, 55F, pressured me to let Andrea and Chris announce. They said it would make the day special and show family unity. My mother, who I thought was finally on my side, said inviting Andrea to join us for the day would be lovely and improve our family ties. Andrea helped me several times, especially after Ethan's death. Even Nancy, who had been helpful lately, thought it would be a good idea, but I think she was just trying to maintain the status quo while caring for a newborn. I was hurt and outraged. I thought our day would come after all the turmoil around Nancy's pregnancy and postponement. Jake was furious. He said that the family shouldn't keep demanding because we'd already sacrificed. He was furious because he felt the family didn't understand or respect our relationship and still treated him like an outsider. The problem boiled over at a family BBQ last weekend. Sophia's birth was to be celebrated quietly. However, it quickly became a wedding debate. Andrea attacked me and called me a bridezilla in front of everyone, saying I was ruining her happiness. She mentioned our childhood vows to attend each other's weddings and celebrate big events. I snapped and ordered her to give up elopement for a costly wedding. I informed her that using our wedding to cover up her revelation was wrong because she had chosen to keep it a secret. I tried not to sound rude. Andrea's wounded gaze made me regret my yell immediately. After the cookout, family members fought and took sides. Frustrated and overworked, I departed early with Jake. We sat quietly on the drive home, struggling with the situation. Children in the back row were particularly quiet, possibly feeling anxiety. Our wedding is 3 weeks away, and I don't know what to do. A part of me wants my dream wedding and to not give up. From our custom vows to Jake's dance with Emma, we've paid care to every detail. Sharing that intimate occasion with another couple's announcement hurts. Another part of me wants to give up and elope because I'm weary of family discord. Jake and I considered taking the kids somewhere peaceful to exchange vows without family strife. Jake says he'll support me no matter what, but I can sense he's stressed. He's angry with my family because he thinks they don't value our relationship. He worried last night that all this drama may make me reconsider marrying him. I told him that wasn't true, and that the whole experience has reaffirmed my belief that he's the man I want to spend my life with. Throughout everything, his patience, understanding, and support have shown me his love and commitment. I like my family, but I'm wondering if the stress is worth it. Andrea wants orders. Should I comply? Should we ahead with our plans and risk family strife? Should we give up and flee? I had no idea a wedding would divide my family so drastically. Any advice on how to handle this would be appreciated. Update 3. I'm sitting down to discuss what happened after a few weeks in between updates. After much thought and debate with Jake, we decided to stick to our previous wedding itinerary. It became clear that giving in to family pressure would never cease. Everyone knows our wedding is about celebrating our love and starting a new chapter. Drama or efforts to take over are unacceptable. We were shocked this aggressive approach worked. Most of the family separated themselves and Andrea apologized, though I think Linda helped. Andrea and I had a long, intense conversation about how we had let our emotions govern us. We celebrated her marriage differently after our honeymoon. The week before the wedding was busy but uneventful. We got an unexpected call 2 days before the big day. Jake's parents' trip was canceled by a surprise airline strike. We felt terrible for them, especially since their wedding postponement caused family discord. However, Jake thought. He suggested streaming the ceremony and having a laptop at the reception so his parents could participate online. Our tech-savvy 17-year-old nephew Kevin promised to handle everything technical. It wasn't great, but it was the best we could do. Despite my concerns, the wedding day went well. As I walked down the aisle and saw Jake's face, family tension disappeared. After our passionate vows, the home and live feed were filled with tears. Emma was a lovely flower girl, and Liam carried the rings without dropping them, though everyone laughed at his fall down the aisle. Jake's parents presented a touching address on a big screen at the reception, making everyone laugh and cry. Although not as special as seeing them in person, it was nonetheless special. Jake's mother danced electronically with him, which was adorable yet weird. I was happy Andrea and Chris followed our instructions and made no major announcements. They took us aside privately to congratulate us and apologize for the earlier situation. In a few months, we'll help them plan a family wedding celebration. Nancy brought her young daughter Sophia, who behaved nicely, to the wedding. Nancy's delighted smile as she handed her child to the gathering made me laugh at our earlier quarrel. We recognized how much we had matured over the past few months at the reception. Mom and Dad surprised me the most. They gave us a booklet of photos and comments from family members who couldn't come, some of whom we hadn't spoken to in years. They showed that our family remained connected despite previous tensions. That act of kindness meant more to me than an expensive gift. I was pleased and happy when Jake and I danced our first dance as husband and wife. We recovered from family drama stronger than ever. I turned to see our grinning, dancing family and friends, and knew that all the stress and dispute had been worth it for this one moment of pure delight. Jake and I are excited for our honeymoon and new life together. We appreciate the love and support on our wedding day and look forward to the future. As Emma expected, they still don't call Jake Dad, but Emma and Liam are delighted he's their stepdad. Everybody who helped and encouraged us is appreciated. Your words helped me be strong and true to myself during a difficult time. All of this has taught me that love, whether for family or partner, sometimes requires morality.